to Season 3, Episode 20 of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host, Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
I used to hate history, didn't you? Just a load of stuff that already happened.
Did that hurt your feelings a little bit? Kind of hurt mine.
I literally wrote rude afterwards. Like, come on. Stop coming after me, Ray.
Watching this movie made me want to talk like Colin Farrell.
Oh, yeah. It's good that we actually, because I finished watching this movie 2 days ago, and I'm glad I had this break of not watching the movie, because I'm sure if we recorded right after, I would try to be doing the Colin Farrell accent the entire time. Which it still will probably happen.
Probably. It's so awesome in this movie, because there's so many...
I'll be honest. The grosser he is with the stuff he says about... he says certain words and things that are just not socially accessible. But with an Irish accent, it kind of sounds delightful. I'm not going to lie.
Right? It almost comes off as charming.
Yeah.
It's this is horrible things that you're saying, but you're coming off charming somehow?
It's like, damn, he got me.
Not to mention, this is in his I'm adorable and everybody thinks I'm sexy type of deal.
This is him coming after he's just out of rehab in this movie, right? So he's
Maybe.
on a strict.
Is this post Miami Vice? Is this him trying to almost resurrect it when he starts doing smaller stuff again? I don't know what the timeline is.
I think so, because I remember seeing reading the review for Roger Ebert. He was saying Colin Farrell's made a lot of bad movies recently, but this is great.
I wonder if this is the beginning of comeback time.
Let's see. 08. We're after Miami Vice.
Because that was that was bottom basically.
Yeah, this isn't quite the comeback. This is a little blip in this is good, because he comes out with Pride and Glory in the same year, and that wasn't a great movie. I would say the real man, because we still have Total Recall to look forward to. and Winter's Tale. My man has made some unfortunate,
some rough choices.
Yeah, that second season of True Detective, Fantastic Beasts. Listen, it's an interesting filmography from Colin, filled with lots of great and lots of no.
It's always this kind of stuff where he's at his best.
When he's weird, when you let him be weird, Colin Farrell is amazing.
Well, and there's a whole group of actors I feel now that we kind of gravitate towards this to the character actor stuck in a leading man's body, and if you just let them be offbeat, when they're at their greatest and
they're
best.
Way more comfortable. Exactly.
Yeah, and then when you stick them being the straight person in the hero lead role, it's it doesn't quite work. And he's another one of those. And Total Recall, man. Oof.
I mean, it's. Do you remember that bit from the Critic, where Jay Sherman is freaking out about Stallone coming back?
Yeah.
He's I forget what movie he was making fun of. That movie where he sang with Dolly Parton. It's he should have died. It doesn't make any sense. His career keeps going. I don't understand. He can't be killed. That's kind of how I feel about Colin Farrell. He just keeps on going. It's he'll go
and do something like The Lobster, and you're I love this.
Yeah, no, The Lobster, and then he's in the second season of True Detective in the same year. Gah! And then follows that up with Fantastic Beasts, and then Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is amazing. I still haven't seen it. And The Beguiled was really good. And then Widows, and then fucking Dumbo. Ow!
Oh yeah, I never saw Dumbo.
It's not great.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. But
I guess we should talk about this movie.
In Bruges.
In Bruges, there it is. And this is my pick, right? So
this is your pick, yeah.
So basically, it is two Irish hitmen based out of England who have messed up on a job and has been sent to Bruges to basically hang out and wait for a call, and everything else ensues from there. And that's the basic premise of this movie. One guy who seems to be the veteran that's enthralled with it all and really pumped and excited to be there to see everything, and is very annoyed at his partner who keeps messing up and he's like the young, doesn't care about any of this, but he's also the dude going through a lot because he's the one that messed up.
Right.
Because he killed a kid.
Okay, well, yeah. You're one up on Ebert, who was for sure in his review that they were all from just Dublin. They're like, oh, yeah, no. They're Irish, so they're working in Ireland. I'm like,
nope.
No, man.
They make that pretty clear. Yeah.
They literally said they were from London. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
In his defense, I mean, like they killed like an Irish actor, the priest too. It's like
yeah, they did, and they're so Irish, the two of them too. So
yeah,
I get it. And like anytime anybody like refers to them in Bruges, they automatically refer to them being Irish. So it's like there's a lot of call to that, even though they should realize the boss they're working for is clearly English. But
well, Roger played it fast and loose with the details in his reviews quite often.
Fair enough.
I think when you see as many movies as he did, like he just shit started blending in. He's like, yeah, that sounds right.
Right, that's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Like this movie, it's such a dark movie. It really is.
Yeah,
but it's also hilarious.
No, it's a perfect black comedy, and like this is how you do it.
It's tonally they nail it. It's impressive that they can be so dark and you still find yourself laughing almost throughout this entire movie. I mean, right from the beginning, where they're like, it's like gloomy, like really depressing kind of sounding, emotional opening monologue, and then he's talking about how he's like washing his hands at a Burger King and stuff like that, and you start laughing like pretty quickly into it. Yeah.
I mean, this is from Martin McDonagh. This is he was a big theater guy before this, writing, directing lots of great plays, and this was his first time in movies. And yeah, black comedy. That's how the Irish do it.
Yeah,
it's our bread and butter.
It is that kind of comedy that lives strong, and it really shows. It's kind of crazy. How much, like, I mean, even, and I don't want to kind of give anything away, but like even in the end where it really should be pretty bad and sad, there still ends up being a joke. Oh, you end up laughing at.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Our leads are Ray, played by Colin Farrell, and Ken, played by Brendan Gleeson.
Yep.
Like Tim said, two hitmen who have been ordered to lay low in Bruges after a hit gone wrong and wait for further instructions from their boss.
Yeah.
Ken recruited Ray into the life and feels paternalistic towards him, which makes life hell for him when he finds out his boss has ordered Ken to kill Ray for botching the hit. Ray definitely cares for Ken, probably more like an older brother-like capacity.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they generally do like care for each other.
Yeah, even though they like annoy the hell out of each other a lot.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like there's an instance later in the movie where Ray gets a hold of some cocaine and Ken's excited. He's like, give me some. And he's like, are you sure? I mean, I know you've been trying to stay off that stuff. And it's like, oh well, he really does care. He's not just like,
right,
subordinate.
Right. He like clearly has been listening and knows, and yeah. So it's interesting because it's like, I definitely see it as a almost sibling, older sibling, younger sibling thing for sure.
Yeah.
Especially they're just the looks at each other of how annoyed they can be at each other's crap.
There are times in this where like there's a scene in here, a couple scenes in here where Brendan Gleeson gives him like a death stare that I've gotten from our father, where it's just like, do not embarrass me right now. He's like you can. He's clenching his jaw so tightly, like you can hear the teeth like grinding into each other.
It's kind of like the thing of like you made too much noise in the middle of mass type of look that you get from father. Or
like the chin like juts out like an extra like 6 inches somehow.
Or just a complete annoyance when like he's just like, oh, this is so cool, and then he looks over and sees Ray just completely like, are we done here yet? Like,
yeah. Ken seems to have gotten into this life because he owes Harry a debt for getting revenge on the man who murdered his wife.
Right.
And Ray, like Tim said, Ray reacts to Bruges like a 5-year-old whose mom dragged him along while she had to do some shopping.
Right. He's been brought to what was the joke from Danny Glover was the kid's worst nightmare. It's like Home Depot or you know, I mean, the kid wants to go to Toys R Us, but the parents bring him to Home Depot or Lowe's or something, and there's like, this is the worst possible place a kid could be right now. Is kind of how Ray feels about Bruges.
Yeah, Ray is always like, he's like oscillating from extreme disgust and bewilderment to depths of despair throughout this movie because of the botched hit. Because as Tim mentioned, while he was killing this priest as ordered, he accidentally kills a child in the process.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Ray's such an interesting character too, because like they both have, all the characters, I would say, have this. They're doing immoral stuff. Like they're doing really bad stuff at times. Mm-hmm. Sometimes saying really awful stuff too. But they all have this like coat of arms, like chivalry or honor or something with all of them too. Like it's so weird that they have this like line that they won't cross, and that they all have like this, you know, like Ken still is so fiercely loyal to his boss Harry, and Ray is still like, even at the end where it's not looking good for him, he literally tries to call out to prevent his killer from doing something, because he has this weird moral compass too, which I guess goes to why he is in such a distraught phase. You know, he's going from mocking Bruges, and then he goes into the bathroom and he starts crying. You know, so you have these kind of moments throughout with Ray, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And man, the scene where he finds out that he killed the child.
Yeah.
And you see like the boy was actually waiting for Ray kills a priest in confession. And when he actually shoots the priest, bullet goes through him, kills a kid, and he sees the kid was waiting for his turn to go confession. You read his card that he had planned out what to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, and what he was willing to confess was being moody, being bad at maths, and being sad. Like, that shit you need to confess for. It's just like, it's both hilarious, like this is like, oh, that's like the worst fucking thing in the world, because it's just like, it's so bad. It's like it's you can't but just laugh.
Yeah,
and
it's such a gut punch,
and the look of absolute
kidding me
devastation on Colin Farrell's face as he drops to his knees, like, fuck.
Yeah,
you know.
The only
perfect.
I did have a weird moment in that scene though, because like it's weird, because like because they show you this kid shot in the head. They like straight up show it, which is like, wow, okay. Showing a kid with a gunshot wound to the head is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But to where it doesn't make sense to where the gunshot was in his head and where he was standing and turned away from where the gunshot came. So that was a little weird to me. And it weirdly took me out for a moment because it just was like, wait a minute, why is his gunshot there? But like, it didn't make any sense to where, because he was almost looking towards the head of the church, and he had a gunshot basically almost center head almost, but they were coming from sideways.
Right, I got you. He's
weird. He's facing the wrong direction for all of that. Right. Like, if they had him facing the other way, it would have worked or something. It was just weird.
Tim CSI'd this shit, and he's like, couldn't have happened this way.
It was weird.
There was a second shooter.
It's grassy knoll.
Yeah, exactly. Magic bullet. It's a good call. I didn't think about it. But you're right. Like,
luckily, the note, by the way, is the thing that brought me back into it.
Right.
Because I was like questioning, and then the note came, and we're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Ken's death scene too.
Yeah. Whoa, that's rough.
Right. But also, like, it's so sad. It's funny. You know?
Yeah.
Like, he knows he's already dying because Harry has shot him multiple times, once in the neck. And he decides to go up to the top of the tower to throw himself off.
Because he's going to get to Ray faster.
Exactly, so he can warn him. But before he does that...
he tries to protect the gun. He's trying to shove it in his... and put up his coat so the gun is somewhat protected.
Before he even does that, he finally gets rid of the change that he had been trying to get rid of earlier in the movie and drops it down from the top of the tower to warn everybody so they get out of the way.
Right.
It's just like this darkly funny moment on top, like, no.
Yeah.
And then he falls, and the poor son of a bitch doesn't die on impact. And you're like,
right.
Oh.
And he's like, Ray's like trying to talk to him, and he's like, I think I'm dying.
No, he's just like, Harry's coming, take the gun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna die now, I think. It's like, oh my God.
I bet that too, that he takes the gun and the gun is busted from the impact. And it's just another one of those, oh no.
Right.
He got warned, but he doesn't have a weapon. And then, which is more humor, I guess we're kind of overstepping, but like every instance to try to protect himself doesn't work out from Harry.
Well, it gave him time to run. But
Sure.
I gave this category a 5. I think these are perfectly great characters that I could have spent even longer with, and I will remember them always.
I think maybe the only reason that I was like, that it didn't go 5, because originally I went 5.
Right.
But then I was like, you know what though? Like, I love this movie from the first time I watched it. It's only the second time I ever watched it, and I really like a lot from this. But like, did I remember their character names or anything like that? Was it that kind of level? That's kind of where I was like weirdly nitpicking. So I went with 4.5, and that was the only reason why I docked it a half a point. But I could arguably go 5. You're right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm 40 now. I'm gonna forget stuff. So
Yeah,
I'm not,
especially because it was like I probably watched it not into maybe it was 2008. I know I watched it like renting it, like it wasn't like something I watched in theater because I think you told me about it, and that's when I went and watched it. So yeah, it was still a long time ago when I watched it. But yeah, you're right. I'm being nitpicky. I could arguably end up giving it that half point later because I did originally go 5.
Okay. Well, let's get into the funny.
Yeah.
Right from the very beginning. Well, you mentioned with. I didn't think about it writing it down, but like, yeah, him like doing the murder and mentioning just like washing his hands in a Burger King, like, oh,
yeah,
something so pathetic about that. But I was the first time I really started laughing was just the look that Ray is giving Ken on the canal boat.
Yeah,
just like this bewildered death stare, like he's angry and also utterly confused. Like Ken is just enjoying himself, like looking around at all the medieval buildings, and he's like, "Do you think this is good?" Going around on a boat and looking at stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. It's called sightseeing.
Yeah. It's a good one. I love to all of the letters and stuff like that because you don't get Harry yet, right? We'll kind of talk more about Harry, I'm sure, in side characters. But like, you get these periodic things where other people are saying what Harry said. So like, you get like either one of them, or you kind of hear a muffled voice, or you have like the owner of the hotel repeating lines, or you read the little note that was written down.
Wow, I haven't got anywhere near.
No,
that
I'm just
yet,
kind of,
but,
I'm just going in general because in the beginning you get you dumbs fucks to Bruges or something like that was one of the first things. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you kind of get a little bit of that throughout. So that was like the first time that. Popped
up. We'll get into the Harry character later, but we just like kind of get hints of him for like 2/3 of the movie. It's not until the last third he just suddenly pops up and like, whoa,
right.
This guy's exceeded my expectations.
Right, because it's like you get this kind of build up and then there is actually a legit payoff. But I just think it's funny because that was just one of get you dumb fucks to Bruges was one of the things that happened, I think, even before that boat ride. So I just kind of, that made me laugh, and more examples of that.
So let's get to this iconic line, which is like another one where I'm like, it's because he's saying with an Irish accent, we're just going to let it go because for some reason it's kind of adorable. Coming up, now they go to this tower, right? We're supposed to see all of Bruges from up there.
Yeah.
And Ken Hasey coming up. What's up there? The view. The view of what? The view of down here? I can see that from down here. Ray, you're about the worst tourist in the whole world. Ken, I grew up in Dublin. I love Dublin. If I grew up on a farm and I was retarded, Bruges might impress me. But I didn't, so it doesn't.
I love how, like, you were going to say something you didn't really want to say, so I better slip into some sort of an accent to justify it.
You caught what I was laying down. Thank you.
Yeah.
I even do it right, too. I really went to... When he does at the end there, he like goes high-pitched. Yeah. It's like, Bruges might impress me, but it didn't, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is. It's great.
It's so funny.
And I love, too, when... just the cadence of when they find out it's 2 rooms. No, sorry, one room. Everywhere's booked on Christmas, and beds. You got it for 2 weeks. And he's 2 weeks, 2 weeks.
And then while Ray is waiting for Ken to come down from the tower,
great.
Ray is being grumpy on a bench when 3 overweight tourists come up and ask him, "Been to the top of the tower?" Yeah, it's rubbish. It is? Guidebook says it's must see. Well, you lot ain't going up there. Pardon me? Why? I mean, it's all windy stairs. I'm not being funny. What exactly are you trying to say? What exactly am I trying to say? He's a bunch of elephants. And then the fat tourist just starts like trying to chase Ray, and it's like you're trying. It's like when you're playing with like a little puppy. It's not hard for him to run away, and it's just like it's so funny. And like he gets all winded, and he's like, "Come on, leave it, fatty."
I love it. And then I love too when Ken comes back down to kind of like catch the end of this or whatever, and he sees them like going, and he's like, "What'd you do?" And he's like, but he's like, "What'd you do?" Or no, where they going? We're going up.
No,
whatever,
first he comes down and he hears like one of the women who is friends with the fat, also friends with the fat tourist says, "You know, you're about the rudest man in the whole world."
Yeah.
And like it's like, what the hell? It's like, where are they? They're not going up there, are they? Guys.
It's really narrow or something.
Yeah. He's trying to politely being nice to them. It's like it's all windy stairs. It's very narrow. It's like, screw you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then Ken gives Ray like a what the fuck look, and Ray just shakes his head. Americans, isn't it?
Yeah. Which I love when the American stuff comes back up later, but I guess we'll get there.
I was gonna say, like, this movie, like, yeah. We had a lot to answer for at the end of the Bush presidency, didn't we? Like, ugh. Everyone was super pissed at us, and, like, we super deserved it. Like, it sucked.
Basically. Canadians.
Yeah, that's good later. I love...
when we get to the bar, right?
And
Ray buys Ken a beer or whatever, gets his beer, and he's like, "Here is your gay beer, and here is my normal beer."
And it's just like, I don't know what he's drinking. It's something out of like a Stella Artois glass or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And Ray just has like a normal pint.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know why like, casual homophobia just sounds quaint and amusing with an Irish accent, but it just does. I don't know. But I'd say it's rude of them not to tell us what they're actually drinking. I would have loved to have known what beers they were having.
Right. I think it's just because like he's probably doing some like Belgian wheat beer or something. This is like, I don't know, probably pre-craft beer craze or the beginnings of it. Right. And then he's probably just having like a normal regular beer you get in any kind of bar. So it's...
Well, they're in Belgium, so it makes sense they should be drinking like a Stella. So it's like...
It should. But it's so
or is that like the Bud Light of Belgium?
The way they mock Belgium and Bruges in general in this movie is so funny. I mean, just like it's like I think Ray almost said something nice about Bruges, and then he basically says like, "Too bad it's in Belgium" or something, like, and then he's just mocking the whole country instead.
I love Ray going nuts in the hotel room, and he can't convince Ken to go to the pub, but sells him on more sightseeing. Let's go look at more medieval buildings in that, because I bet they even look better at night.
Yeah, and I love his face. His facial expression sells it. Yeah,
both of them. Because Ray is like, does it? He's like really excited, like maybe, and Ken's like, Gleason's so good there with the like, just like throws the book like, yes,
because at first he's just angry and annoyed at him, and then he's just like, actually, that is
tremendously
I bet
funny.
That medieval shit looked better at night.
Yeah. So that more sightseeing, and that's where I get the used to hate history, didn't you? It's all just a lot of stuff that already happened. Like
And I guess that's when they catch the filming.
They're filming midgets.
They're filming midgets, and he's so excited.
Ray, let's go. My ass, let's go. They're filming midgets.
He like runs over.
Yeah.
And I think he also like makes a comment about a beautiful girl too, which is.
Well, that happens afterwards, but he's just so excited. Like, it's like a kid who just saw Santa. Like, oh my God.
Yep.
And that's where we get the first note. Where Ken returns to the hotel afterwards because Ray's going to stay and watch the filming and stuff. And they get the note from Harry because they missed the call that they were supposed to wait for.
Oh, yeah,
And we just get the voiceover from Ray Fiennes here playing Harry. Number 1, why aren't you in when I fucking told you to be in? Number 2, why doesn't this hotel have phones with fucking voicemail and not I have to leave messages with the fucking receptionist? Number 3, you better fucking be in tomorrow night when I fucking call again. It'll be fucking hell to pay. I'm fucking telling you, Harry. And then Ken shows the message to Ray the next morning. Jeez, he swears a lot, doesn't he?
Isn't there like a PS too from the hotel owner?
Yeah. The lady says at the end, just like, from Marie, like, I actually own this hotel with my husband. I'm not a receptionist.
It's so funny. But yeah, then we get back to before he shows Ray, right? He's trying to talk to the girl, and he goes on this crazy stint about midgets and how they all tend to kill themselves. And he starts trying to list famous little people who have killed themselves.
Right.
And then he's like, well, except the R2-D2 man, he's still kicking. It's just like going on. And it's like one of those things where it's such a train wreck and not funny, but it keeps going to where it almost becomes funny and charming. And you can kind of see that from the girl's reaction. And it's just a really great, charming, funny Ray sequence.
No, Ray has like this boyish quality about him that's just endearing.
Right.
It just is. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. He says some awful stuff, but it comes from this place of like honesty and integrity at the same
well-meaning. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. He's not really trying to offend anybody.
No, it's super Irish. Honestly, is what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. It's like there's racism, and then there's Irish racism, which is just kind of a cute version of racism where they just think they're being honest, like because they just don't understand it because there just aren't other people in this country besides them. Yeah,
and I love when Ray comes back all excited from his meeting of the girl and everything like that. So he's like coming in, and Ken is so annoyed. He's trying to sleep, and he's just like, shut up, like turn the light. And then like Ray will sit, and then again that boyish thing's like, oh, I gotta take my contacts out. And he takes his contacts out and keeps talking, and then he's brushing his teeth. He's like, shut the fucking light off, what are you doing? It just reminded me so much of like me trying to sleep with my own children, basically.
So after Ken shows Ray the letter from Harry, that's when Ray mentions like, I got, Ken says we got to stay in for tonight, and Ray's like, but I got a date.
Right.
So they make a deal. They get to do all the sightseeing that Ken wants to do, and he will cover for Ray so he can have his date. So they start doing more sightseeing. And this is like Ray probably at his goddamn worst where they go to that church.
Yeah.
He's like just playing with a chair while like Ken's like trying to like look at stuff. And like Ray, Ken calls him, was like, Ray, we agreed to do the things I wanted to do today. We are doing the things that you want to do today. And that we do them without you throwing a fucking moody like some 5-year-old who's dropped all his sweets. I didn't agree to that. And like, the death stare from Ken after, I'll cheer up.
I also like before that too, where they agreed to do the sightseeing and stuff like that. And Ken's like, and there'll be a balance of sightseeing and fun. And he's like, yeah, knowing you, I'm sure the balance will tip towards culture.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny, too. Because, again, he thinks he's such, like, a slick kid, thinking he's getting one past his parent.
And, like, this is, like, the scene, really, too, where it's, like, he looks like the most, like, Little League dad, Ken, where he's just, like, so annoyed with Ray. Just like, oh.
Yeah. Because he's just sitting in a chair behind him as Ken's, like, taking it all in. And then the whole Jesus thing was really
Jesus Christ's blood, is supposed to be at this church. He's supposed to go and touch the vial, and like Ken's like getting online. He's like, that's what I'm gonna go do. He's like, do I have to do it? No, you don't have to do it. He just kind of stares at him like daggers.
It was a longer rant than that. It was pretty funny because I'm pretty sure it eventually ends in, of course you don't have to fucking do it.
Right.
And then he gets so mad when the dwarf he sees in the street completely ignore him.
Well, like, but first, like, the dwarf is walking by, and he's, like, so excited. Like, and he's, like, where's his hand at him?
He's like a friend of his.
Yeah. And, he gets ignored, and he's, like, all pouty and, like, little fucking cunt.
Yeah.
And we already talked about like the face acting in this movie, but like, once again, when they're at the art museum, the look on Colin Farrell's face when he looks at the Judgment of Cambrise, where the guy getting flayed.
Oh yeah, and it's like the one and then he goes to another one. It's like, oh, this one I actually kind of like.
Right. But the one before that, the utter disgust and bewilderment is so funny. I think he even gives it a second, like, what? So good. Ken tries to cheer Ray up about the botched hit and tells him that sometimes these things happen, and that he killed an innocent man once. A lollipop man who came at Ken with a bottle to get in the way of a hit on his brother.
And then I love when he's like,
wait, let me.
Okay, you're gonna do the whole thing?
Yeah. Well, Ray says like,
oh my god, are you gonna try the accent on this one? Because it's so good on Ray in this one. Oh my god.
I'll try. I'll give him a shot.
Saying lollipop man, I'm curious. You say it.
Ray says if he came at you with a bottle, it's self-defense, and Ken points out, well, your hands could be deadly weapons too if he knew karate or something, which leads to, what's a lollipop man knowing about fucking karate? How old was he? About 50. What's a 50-year-old lollipop man doing knowing fucking karate? Was he a Chinese lollipop man? I had no idea what a lollipop man was. I thought it was a euphemism or something like that. Turns out it's just a crossing guard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a nickname for a crossing UK saying. But hearing them go back and forth, just saying lollipop man over and over again, it's just something very funny about it. I don't know.
I just love how Ken is being so soft-spoken and trying to be endearing and cheering him up. And
right.
Ray's just like, none of this is comparable, basically.
No.
What are you talking about? Like,
right. So then Ray goes on the date, and he's talking with the girl Chloe, who he met on the film set.
Yeah.
So what do you do for work? Shoot people for money? What kinds of people? Priests, children, usual. Is there a lot of money to be made in that line of business? There isn't priests, there isn't in children.
I love too in this scene is, and then she, he asks her, and she's also completely honest.
She's
like,
a drug
selling
dealer.
Drugs,
yeah,
like
it's supposed to like come off that like, they're both clearly joking or whatever,
right?
But then you kind of find out like actually, well, you kind of knew Ray, but like you kind of find out no, they were both completely honest. Which makes you even go even harder for this movie because it's just they seem to be a match made in heaven, and she finds his bluntness charming.
She seems to be a match. I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems to sound revealed to be a drug dealer, and she's just like she sold a bunch of ketamine to the dwarf Ray is fascinated by.
Yeah,
and then she starts talking about she's excited about the film production, and she said there's never been a classic movie made in Bruges until now. And Ray's like, of course there hasn't hit. It's a shithole.
It's my hometown. It is not.
Well, it's still a shithole. It's not a lot of shithole. What? Even midgets need to take drugs to stick to it.
And I love too right before he's like, you can't sell horse tranquilizer to a midget.
Yeah.
I love that he still has this weird moral code.
He's very concerned about the dwarf. He's like, must protect at all costs or whatever.
And then he's like, don't you have, you got jokes about Belgium or whatever? And he's like, no, I don't have any Belgian jokes. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do.
Isn't this the place where they had all those child killings or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, one of those was a friend of mine. And he's just like, oh, what?
Yeah. So she goes to the bathroom or whatever. And the guy at the table next to Ray and Chloe complain about Chloe blowing her cigarette smoke in his face.
Yeah, which by the way, right, Ken has warned him to keep a low profile.
Yeah.
And so the person next to him says fucking unbelievable. And he's like, you can see he's trying to ignore it. And then he can't.
Well, I love it. He's like, he pauses, even though he knows he should hit him in the face. And he asks, what? He literally says that out loud as he's opening the narration to himself, his own life. So yeah, he complains, tells him that like Ray goes assumes they're Americans, goes on a rant about the Vietnamese, which just confuses the guy.
What does that have to do with it?
The Vietnamese. And then Ray just
I also love too. It's like that because it's about smoking and it blowing the smoke in his face or whatever. It's like you're in the smoking section.
Yeah. So like, eventually just Ray had enough and just knocks him out. And his girlfriend comes at Ray with a bottle, like, a bottle. And he punches her.
Oh my god, what a perfect moment of the cadence, the way he says, a butt, like, it's this epiphany, like, it's like the Lollipop Man.
Exactly,
like, oh my god.
And then Henry knocks her out. He's like, that's for John Lennon, you Yankee fucking cunt.
And then I love, too, where she comes out as just like, oh my god, what's going on? And, like, basically you hit a woman. It's like, oh no, and now you're
But you came out with a bottle.
Anymore. But yeah, there's a bottle. You don't understand.
Self-defense. Self-defense, they come at you with a bottle. And then we get Harry calls.
Yeah.
While Ken is covering for Ray. And I love
everything with Ken here.
Ken having to pretend the entire time that Ray's there.
Is he doing a wee or a poo?
I don't know. The door is closed.
I would sent him to go find a bowling alley. There's no bowling alley. He's in Bruges, a medieval fucking bowling alley.
Gleason's so funny because he has to like mime out the whole thing and pretending that he's having conversations with Ray to get him out of the room. And like, well, check the door. He might be listening at the door.
Well, and he's so annoyed too because clearly Harry's going insane over the top here. Like,
right.
Come on. Like.
And then he fills in Harry. Once Harry is placated that Ray's definitely gone, he fills in like how it's been going, and he lets him that Ray doesn't really care for Bruges, and Harry goes ballistic. He's like, it's a fairy tale fucking town. How can it not be his thing? And it just goes on for like a while, and then
what I meant to say wasn't at first, and so he eventually loved it, and it's again great filmmaking too because he talks about this fog and he talks about this imaginary scene that they didn't have, right with the fog and everything, and then it comes later,
right,
like close to his death, and it's like, wow, that's kind of perfect.
Cut to Ray making out with Chloe at her place.
Yeah.
When a guy with a gun claiming to be Chloe's boyfriend demands Ray get on his knees and put his mouth on the gun. And Ray takes the gun from him easily and defeats him.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, at what point exactly did all the skinheads become poofs? Used to be you were a skinhead, you just went around beating up Pakistani 12-year-olds. Now it seems a prerequisite to be a bum boy. And then it's revealed that that's actually like Chloe's ex, and the two of them rob tourists sometimes. And this is all a plot, and she swears she told Eric not to come by, and Ray is all bummed out, knew it was too good to be true. I haven't had a shag in months. But on the bright side, while Chloe is taking Eric to the hospital after Ray shot the gun full of blanks in his face, Ray found her drug stash and live round bullets for the gun.
But also before she leaves, right, it's like this whole like, what do you mean like a girl like me? And then she's like, a nice girl. And then she was so like, someone thinks I'm nice.
Right.
Like, someone's treating me well. So
even though I'm a drug dealer and I rob people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ends up kissing him before she takes her ex-boyfriend to the hospital.
And then we go back to the bar. And was it Ray hooks up with Ken at a bar? That's right. And just I must be just like downstairs from the hotel or something like that. He's like, drowning your sorrows. What sorrows? You know, being a sad, ugly little old man. One gay beer, please.
One gay beer. Do you think they like go, oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about?
And then they run into Jimmy the dwarf, who has is a hooker with him. And they decide to share the cocaine stash all together with another hooker in a room somewhere. I don't know where they were. Yeah. And like Jimmy goes really high and he turns into Charles Manson talking about the coming race war.
Yeah, it gets real dark.
It's weird, man.
But I love how Ray just thinks it's funny and keeps trying to poke holes in his ideology.
Well, Ray's like, I know what side I'm fighting on. I'm fighting with the blacks. The whites are going to get their heads kicked in. And Jimmy's like, you can't fight. Blacks, you're on the white. Yeah,
you can't. You got to be on the whites or whatever. And then she's like, wait a minute. What about a black midget or whatever?
It's like, don't get me started on the black midgets or whatever. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But I think Ray just thinks it's hilarious. Ray just kind of takes it all in. Until until Ken kind of breathes some almost reality into the situation, and you kind of find out about Ken a little bit more.
Yeah, he says his wife was black, she was killed by a white man. So what side am I supposed to fight on?
Yeah.
So after that,
Jimmy shuts up basically.
Yeah, Ken and Ray are done with the whole thing, and they pack up their drugs. And Jimmy wants more, and that's where Ray's like, "Back off, shorty." And Ray gets into like this dorky karate pose.
Oh, yeah, he's like, "You don't know karate," and then he gives him a judo chop
right in the neck. Yeah.
But Jimmy goes down. He's like, "Oh," he actually looks hurt.
It's so funny.
It really is. To me, immediately, I'm thinking like Bond, and I'm thinking Austin Powers. And
That's Austin Powers. Bond never did a judo chop. That was.
Well, I mean,
maybe Roger Moore.
More a bit, but yeah, but totally, it's Austin Powers that did it more than anything else because he actually literally said judo chop. Right, it's just kind of funny to see it in a real situation almost. So yeah, the next day, Ken goes and gets the gun that Harry told him to get, and he's getting ready to kill Ray, who is sitting on a park bench. And yeah, well, there's this whole conversation about what an alcove is that I actually thought was pretty.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I don't put down all the word for word that you do, but yeah, there's this weird thing where it's like, he's giving you advice, like you should.
Where to kill him, yeah.
Where to kill him is like, we have alcoves. Is that the right word? Alcoves? And Ken's like, yeah, that's a word, yeah. But then he keeps going on like, I don't know if that's right. Alcoves is like, no, that. I understand what you're saying. That makes sense.
It's like nooks and crannies. He's like, ooh, those are words I like even better. Nooks and crannies. Yeah.
It was such a weird conversation that I thought was funny.
It's funnier later on when Harry he has
because Harry has the exact same conversation and they talk about it again later. Yeah. He did the alcove thing to you too.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. So yeah, Ken is getting ready to shoot Ray in the back of the head. And then at the same time, Reddy is getting ready to shoot himself in the head, and Kelly yells at him to stop. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Ray sees that Ken has a gun. Oh my god, you were going to kill me. No, I wasn't. You were going to kill yourself. What? I'm allowed to. What a day this turned out to be. I'm suicidal. My mate tries to kill me, nick my gun, and we're still in fucking Bruges.
Oh, man, again, the way he says everything is amazing.
It's so funny. And then, so they have, Ken comes clean with him about the whole thing.
Right.
And he tells him, like, he said this whole trip was to give you one last joyful memory. In Bruges! The Bahamas, maybe. Why Bruges? Suppose it's cheaper. So good.
He's trying to convince him, we're going to put you on a train.
Just get the hell out of town.
You get out of town.
I don't know where you're going. Yeah.
You go do something else. Like, what am I going to do? You gotta take exams to be a doctor. What am I gonna do? I just thought it was so funny the way he did that.
Yeah. As he gets him on the train, he's gone.
And that's kind of when you find out too, by the way, this was his first job.
Yeah.
And so it makes
some hitman he turned out to be. Yeah. So Ken calls Harry and gives him the news that he won't kill Ray, and he's put him on a train to safety. And Harry doesn't take the news well and starts destroying the phone. Yeah. And his wife comes in to try to get him to calm down. Harry, what? It's an inanimate fucking object. You're a fucking inanimate object. And then 2 seconds later, he goes in and apologizes. I'm sorry for calling you an inanimate object. I was upset.
But it's weird because the wife seems very understanding and she knows who her husband is and seems very worried and wants to make sure the boys are going with him and all this kind of stuff. So it's like this weird thing where you get so much from such a little interaction of why does Ken love Harry? He seems to be that kind of a dude. He has a temper, obviously, and,
right,
and curses too much, but everybody seems to really have an endearment towards this dude.
He's you see him interact with the kids real quick. He's obviously seems to be a loving dad. I won't call him a good dad, but a loving dad.
Right.
Him and the wife seem to have a good relationship, even though they yelled at each other. But she was genuinely worried about him going off again and everything.
Right. And so he immediately apologizes for his actions.
This is 2 minutes of characterization. I know everything about this guy, and it's wow, it's good writing. That's great acting too, of course.
Insane. It's really good.
So Harry goes to Bruges to kill Ken and Ray. First stops at Erie's to get a gun. And he has a full display of options for Harry to choose from. Take your pick, Mr. Waters. And he just looks like, an Uzi? I'm not from South Central Los Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking drive-by. I want a normal gun for a normal person. And so then Harry starts walking around, and Harry happens upon Ken at a pub outdoors, and the two talk it out. And Ken explains his position, tells him to leave Ray alone since he's suicidal and will probably off himself anyway.
Yeah, this is great too.
This line, man, it was like the most Irish mom thing ever put to screen. Like, oh man, he's suicidal. I'm suicidal. You're suicidal. Everybody's fucking suicidal. We don't keep going on about it. Just like, oh yeah, I've heard many of Irish moms say similar things.
But I love too how he's like, wait a minute. He was gonna kill himself? That solved your problem. It solved his problem. It solved my problem. Like, what are you doing?
So first, has he killed himself yet? No. So he's not suicidal, is he? He put a loaded gun to his head this morning. I stopped him. What? This gets fucking worse. and then Ken lays it all down. He's like, Harry, let's face it. And I'm not being funny. And I mean no disrespect. But you're a cunt. You're a cunt now. You've always been a cunt. And the only thing that's going to change is you're going to become an even bigger cunt. Maybe have some more cunt kids. Leave my kids out of it! What have they done? You fucking retract that bit about my fucking cunt kids. I retract that bit about your cunt fucking kids. Yeah.
Ken apologizes immediately.
Insulting my fucking kids. That's going overboard, mate. I retracted it, didn't I? Still leaves you being a cunt. Yeah, I fucking got that.
Again, you gotta love these like honorable people with morals who somehow cross some weird imaginary lines for themselves.
It's great.
It's so good.
Let's see. I laughed really loud when the tower ticket seller tells Ken and Harry the tower's closed because an American had a heart attack climbing the tower yesterday. It's a great little bit right there.
Oh, but man, when the looks on Ken's face when the security guard is like, it's closed, and then starts poking him in the head.
Yeah.
While he's doing it, and Ken's giving this like, ooh.
He just starts walking away. Like,
he's like,
this is gonna be bad.
Sidestepping away. Like, I know how this is gonna go next.
And he just
goes to town.
He pistol whips him to death. I think probably.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Which is insane because, like, man, this dude, like, just blatantly does things in front of people. Like,
yeah.
He does not care.
No. I mean, it's even worse if they had that deleted scene in the movie.
I know.
Excuse me. So, Ken and Harry go up the tower, and Ken takes out his gun and slides it to Harry, confusing him.
Right.
Ken says he loves him, and he's in his debt forever, but he had to let Ray go and say fuck you to Harry, but he won't hurt him. He won't hurt Harry. He owes him too much. And Harry is confused and annoyed by this and says, well, you say all that fucking stuff, I can't fucking shoot you now, can I? But then Harry shoots him Ken in the leg anyway.
I think, well, did he say shoot or did he say kill you? I can't kill you anyway or whatever. That he shoots him? I
thought he said shoot, but he shoots him. Yeah.
He shoots him in the leg. Yeah. It's like, I couldn't do nothing to you or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then he helps him down the stairs, and it's really sweet.
It is!
Yeah. And then meanwhile, you find, Ray's on the train, and all of a sudden he gets worried he's going to get caught because a police officer's walking by. And he's like, what, you're the Irishman or whatever, the Canadian or whatever, or something like that.
You're Irish, right? And he's like, yeah, what of it? And he's like, we're bringing you back to Bruges. He's like, what? You assaulted a Canadian. And he looks at him, he sees it was the guy in the restaurant. Like, Canadian. Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And, like,
and I love he like comments later about the Lennon thing again.
Yeah.
He's like, he wasn't American. I should have said the thing about John Lennon.
Yeah.
They didn't kill John Lennon.
Yeah. So Ray is back in Bruges, and
he reconnects with Chloe.
Chloe bails him out of jail, and they're having like drinks right outside the tower. And
he's actually looking to have like a great time in Bruges for once. Like he's like having drinks at a cafe with the girl he really likes and seems to be having a grand old time.
And then Eric, the ex-boyfriend, catches them and runs up to the tower to tell Harry that
yells up the stairs.
Ray's there.
And they immediately look at each other like, oh, this all of a sudden has changed. Like everything just changed. And again, great moment in this movie where they both give each other this look of everything that we just went through is now done.
It's like we're not friends anymore again. We're getting them. Gotcha. It's
Yeah,
sad.
and they're immediately fighting each other to point the pistols at each other and forcing the pistol away, and Ken sadly loses.
Yeah, but that's where he kills himself to save
We mentioned
Ray,
earlier,
and then the chase begins throughout Bruges, and they get back.
It's a long chase.
Yeah, and I'll bring it up later. They get back to the hotel because that's where Ray's other gun is.
Yeah.
And
that he found live rounds earlier because it was the gun with the blanks.
Right, he's going to kill himself. So Ray gets the gun. He's upstairs. Harry is downstairs waiting for him, and sort of like they're in a draw.
Yeah, because again, morals, because nobody wants the hotel owner woman.
The pregnant hotel, yeah, just why you caught the crossfire.
Yeah.
Says, Harry, I've got an idea. What? My room faces onto the canal, right? I'm going to go back to my room, jump into the canal, and see if I can swim to the other side of it and escape. Right. If you go outside and round the corner, you can shoot me from there and try and get me. That way, we leave this lady and her baby out of the whole entire thing. Do you completely promise to jump into the canal? I don't want to run out there and come back in 10 minutes and find you fucking hiding in a cupboard. I completely promise, Harry. I'm not going to risk having another little kid die, am I? So hang on. I go outside and then I go which way, right or left? You go right, don't you? You can see it from the doorway. It's a big fucking canal. All right, Jesus, I only just got here, haven't I?
It's a great you're right.
And like Marie, like the hotel owner, is just like, you people are insane. It's great.
Which we forgot an important Ken and Harry piece of their conversation too, which where he's commenting on how the hell did he not kill himself immediately? You kill a kid, he's like, I know what I would have done if I killed a kid. I would have killed myself immediately. Would have put the gun right in my mouth. I would have just killed myself right there. So again, like this weird moral thing, and that'll come back around to our ending here.
Right, go ahead.
But yeah, so he jumps the canal onto the boat and he immediately loses the gun. So it's like, oh Christ, he went through all of that to try to get the gun, and he immediately loses the gun. And so again, he's on the run again.
He's on the boat and he gets pretty far away, but Harry sees him.
Oh yeah, he's not gonna hit me from
He's like,
that
you're
distance.
too far away, you can't do it. And
he does. He completely hits him.
Like the proud look on like Ken, so he's like, yeah, I fucking got you. It's like really funny.
It was like a Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon moment. Like he should have just like cracked his neck or something.
That's Danny Glover's move. How dare you?
Oh, you're right. My bad.
God damn it.
Sorry, they were both in the shooting range. But anyway, I guess Mel Gibson would have been whistling. But anyway, so yeah, and we come to the film set thing again, and even earlier it was supposed to be some weird trippy dream sequence type stuff that they're in. So it's really bizarre because he's like clearly gunshot wound and delirious, and there's trippy.
Well, it's cool too. So you mentioned
on.
Earlier how he liked that other painting. If you look at like all the costumes that everybody's in, it's very close to the Hieronymus Bosch painting that Ray said he liked, which is like about Judgment Day.
Right, and they start talking about purgatory.
Right.
And this, so it becomes a metaphor. That's what Bruges is. It's purgatory, and it's so well done.
Yeah.
It's so well done. But yeah.
So,
anyway, Harry, who throughout the streets in Bruges, the entire chase scene is just shooting.
There are no police in
bullets
Bruges.
Flying. None. Just bullets flying. Nobody seems to care. And he finally kind of gets caught up to him, and he is conveniently in front of Jimmy, the dwarf from earlier, who is in a schoolboy outfit, part of his costume
for a dream sequence.
Scene.
Yeah,
we find out earlier, and so Harry starts firing, and Ray gets shot a lot.
Right, and Harry had been using special dum-dum bullets that Yuri had given him, which blows people's heads completely apart.
Yeah.
So you can't see the face at all. So when he looks and sees that a little boy-sized person in a schoolboy costume has a face missing, he shoots Harry, just man of honor, does as he said he would, and shoots himself in the head. And Ray is like, no, don't. It's not.
But he can't really say it because he got shot like 6 times already.
I counted 4, but yeah.
Okay, I'm exaggerating, but he got shot a lot, so he doesn't exactly have the breath and the words but he really is trying to be like, no, Harry, it's not what you think it is.
Right.
Because he knows that that's what Harry's going to do. So even though he knows what Harry's about and that's what he's going to do, which is interesting. It's he didn't have that conversation.
The look on Harry's face, too, as he realizes what he's done, or he thinks he knows what he's done.
Right. And he's like, can't be a hypocrite.
Basically. He kind of smiles and like kind of chuckles to himself like, that's it then, or whatever. And it's like, wow. He really faces this with like the stiff upper lip and everything. It's like, wow.
It's not like he was drinking or doing drugs or anything either. So it's just like, wow. Like he's just boom, boom.
And then you get the ending narration as Ray's being loaded into an ambulance with like 4 bullet wounds. And he's just like, there's a Christmas tree somewhere in London with a bunch of presents underneath it that'll never be opened. And I thought if I survive this, I'll go to that house, apologize to the mother there, and accept whatever punishment she chooses for me. Prison, death, doesn't matter. Because at least in prison and at least in death, I wouldn't be in fucking Bruges. But then like a flash, it came to me, and I realized, fuck, man, maybe it's what hell is. The entire rest of eternity spent in fucking Bruges. And I really hoped I wouldn't die.
But then it goes to white.
Yeah.
Which I think he's dead.
In the script originally, it states plain that he lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but, the script is the script, the movie's the movie. It is left for interpretation.
Because it almost seems like the purgatory and everything, it just seems like, I don't know. I got that vibe. But anyway, where are you at?
I gave this category a 7.5.
Okay, I went 7.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Supporting characters. So let's talk about Ray Fiennes as Harry Waters, the underworld boss to Ken and Ray.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's impressive for him to be in it so little. And again, when he comes in, you're just like, oh, this blew me away. Like, you have this expectation growing, and then he pops in, and you're like, wow.
What a weird career Ray Fiennes
has had. Really is.
But, he's so good in this movie. He's the character of Harry is like, he's got a short temper with a strict moral code. And he's a lot of
potty mouth.
He's a lot of fun to laugh at, but never in like a buffoonish way. You always feel extremely nervous for whoever's in the scene with him. It's like he's always got that legitimate threat, but he's also very funny to laugh at. It's like that's a hard trick
because he's so extreme, basically.
Right, but you act on because of Ray Fiennes being a very tall man, and you feel like the violence is coming any second now. It's a great performance.
I agree.
My only complaint.
Oh.
Ray Fiennes runs like an older man. I don't know what that chase scene. Fiennes is 46 when this comes out, but he runs like someone like 20 years older. I'm like, when you see the running scenes between him versus Colin Farrell, like, ooh.
But I think it was on purpose, to be honest. Like, clearly he's not able to keep up the same way. Like, I think the only reason why he was able to catch up to him probably is because he actually shot him. He got him.
Right, but it's still like, it was unfortunate to look at on film. Sorry, that's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. He's probably also wearing dress shoes on like cobblestone streets.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not easy.
So that can't be great.
You know what I really like too? The scene where Eric, the skinhead, tells Harry that Ray blinded him when he was trying to rob him, and Harry's that sounds like it's your fault. And Harry's like, but I thought you wanted to kill him. I do want to kill him. I want to crucify him. But you tried to rob him, and you were stupid enough to try rob him with blanks and let him take the gun away from you, so it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's like it really sums up Harry as a person. It's just, this is perfect.
I agree. Chloe's the who I have next.
Yeah, Clemence Posey as Chloe, drug dealer and occasional honeypot thief. Yeah. She doesn't get a ton to do in this movie besides look pretty, and she nails that. Yeah.
I mean, she nails the endearment, I think, facially towards Ray of like...
Yeah, she's playing smitten very well.
Yeah, someone that like is just taken back by his honest bluntness and someone that actually treats her as a higher than what she probably thinks herself as.
Right.
And so you kind of get that across pretty well. And she does seem pretty like, oh my God, what's happening? And distraught there towards the end. But you're right. I mean, that's about it after that. You also have Jimmy.
Jimmy Prentice plays Jimmy, an actor in town playing the dwarf in some kind of Don't Look Now ripoff.
And all that race war stuff, it was the cocaine.
It's just the cocaine.
It's just the cocaine.
Doesn't someone really meant. Jimmy loves his drugs and hookers, and if you get enough cocaine in him, he'll start ranting like Charles Manson about the coming race
and
war.
especially horse tranquilizer.
I like that every time someone asks him if he's an American, he says yes, but please don't hold it against him.
Yeah.
The Europeans were so over our shit at the end of the W. Bush presidency, and it's with good cause. It's like, but since that was it, really, because I didn't really have much to say about Marie and or Yuri for that matter.
Yuri, I guess, and Eric, whatever. But yeah, that was about it.
I gave this a 3.5.
I won 3.
Okay, so my final score was a 16.
I had 14.5.
So this is my new number 1 movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is high. But, I mean,
stand by it.
So.
Well, me and Roger Ebert love this movie.
I love the movie too, stop.
He gave it 4 stars. It says, every once in a while you find a film like this that seems to happen as it goes along, driven by the peculiarities of the characters. And I liked that.
Yeah.
This movie had a budget of $15 million and grossed worldwide just under $39. Debuted at number 25 in America in a very limited release, only 28 screens. And that week it lost to Fool's Gold and Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. And it peaked at number 21 like 2 weeks later when it came into wide release and lost to Vantage Point.
Okay.
And then went into a slightly even larger release the following week, but stayed at number 21 and lost to Semi-Pro. Yeah. So...
Well, I have it at number 5 currently. So it is my 5th best. Behind it, so I have Zack and Miri, Semi-Pro, Role Models, and Drop by Thunder over it.
No Academy, only one Academy Award nomination for this. It was for writing, best screenplay, and Martin McDonagh lost to whoever wrote Milk.
I never saw it. I wonder why.
Tim's number 1 Sean Penn fan just happened to miss that one.
Our top 5 is basically identical, just in different orders.
Well,
by the way.
Yeah, look at that.
There.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it should be interesting after next week where this ends up.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week.
Yeah, your pick.
Only 3 movies left.
I know. Look at that. All good movies, exception of one that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I don't remember loving it. I just remember thinking it was fine. So I guess we'll just get it out of the way and end on a high note.
It is.
So we'll watch Smart People.
Woo. It looks like a rental, unless something's changed. Unless some people have Cinemax, I guess you have here. Is Cinemax even a thing anymore?
Yeah, I think so. But maybe you can get go onto Amazon Prime and get a free week's trial and then cancel.
True. And then after that, it's win-win.
Nope, it's off Cinemax. Just a rental now. Oh well,
just a rental. Oh no, okay. Hopefully not a pricey one. It'll be fine.
$4.
But yeah. Ugh. Then they're finishing strong with either Step Brothers or Freddy Sarah Marshall. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
Wow, it's already coming to a close so soon.
I'm excited to get back to action. Not gonna lie.
I am too, to be honest. I have already, as I've already been texting you, I've already started to watch action movies, and I almost watched an action movie last night that was from the 90s, and I think that's where we're going. So I was like, I don't know what year we're gonna get. I'm gonna hold off on it, and so I thought I made this much.
Good man.
Yeah, I thought so. All right, that is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. We're happy to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbroinchamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bro Champ podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Back off, Shorty.